All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Crypto Wolf here, and I just want to start out today by saying, welcome to the future. Here we are, the future of finance with Bitcoin and crypto. I mean, it doesn't quite look like it does in the picture there. Maybe we got a little bit sidetracked along the way, but who's to say? So, anyways, we're just chilling today. We're gonna look at the charts, just talk about whatever, kind of basically like a live stream, except I haven't set up the crap for doing live stream yet, so this is gonna have to do. And our quote for the day: chillin' is the art of doing nothing without being bored. As a matter of fact, if I was sitting in a little scenic area, like, oh, we've got a cabin back there, I'd say I'd be chilling without being bored quite happily. Although I'd also be like literally physically chilling because it looks freezing there. But let's see what's going on over here. We had some pump action going on today. We were let's go back to the last video when I was showing that we were coming into this little squeeze here and the volume was getting super low. And I was like, we are very likely to see a breakout soon. I think I showed it actually on the Bitcoin chart a little bit more. And as you can see, we did break out to the downside. And we did follow along this trend line until we kind of deviated, start going down a little bit further there. Continued. And I added in this fib retracement after the fact, as you can see, because that's the bottom of it right there. And we reached the bottom. Money flow was coming up. And we had a little bit of pump going on. What time was that? It's about 1 p.m. Central Time here. So as I make it 2 p.m. Eastern. And we had a nice little run up. I mean, it's only 2% or if that, barely. And then we got to the top, which I finally actually looked right as we were crossing over here. And that was a pretty bad FOMO. Even after what I've been talking about lately, that would have been a bit much. And so, our RSIs were coming together. We were rolling over the top. And so I just decided to enter a short. Figured I'd see how far it's going to pull back. Ended up doing halfway decent. And then kind of went long over here. And now we're kind of going sideways. And I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. Looks like we may continue to the downside. And I'm kind of feeling that way too. Man, that is just, look at that. We got 3 crosses in a row right there. Where's this current trade at here? Nothing spectacular at all. Oh, shit. You know what? Yeah, I actually closed that long and then reopened a short, and I'm actually breaking even at the moment. So, not terribly concerned, although it would be nice to see it come down. And it very much looks like it's going to do that. So, let me see. What do we got this set to? My bad. 1 second. Just adjusting. I'm going to pull that a little bit closer because if it does continue to the upside, I'm not trying to hang on to it. But all right, so here we are, Bitcoin. This is a 4-minute chart because, we're at this point just at the moment where things are kind of going all over the place. If we jump up to the 10, we're kind of getting rejected down here on the VWAP. Money flow, though, still just getting dragged all over the place. Still looking like we could be coming back out of it, and that would be a fairly sharp turn to the upside, considering how long that one was. But there's a little bit more going on here, and I'll show you why. Let's just skip right to it. If we came up to the 4-hour and we hid all that nonsense, you can see here what I was talking about. Oh man, now it just brings it all back. Oh well, I'm just going to draw right over top of it. You can see here, price was going up, but the money flow, or sorry, no, the momentum waves were coming down. Had some bearish divergence right there. And again, you know, we did have that decent little pullback there. The question at this point is that all the pullback we're going to see. You know, I drew this one out because I figured we were going to roll over this top just like we did this one and potentially bunny hop back up. That part's still obviously in question, but we are kind of pulling up from this bottom a little bit, so we will see what happens. I kind of want to leave this here. I want to see if we come at least back up to that golden pocket. And looking over here, man, we wicked up to here, up to the 0.5. So depending on what we do right here, if we continue on down that trend line, I'll pretty much abandon that one for the moment. You know, over here on the 1 hour, hey, we got a new candle. Still overall looking downward. Man, you just do not like giving me that tool. Still overall looking downward. But we did have, you know, increasing split as we came down last time. So it's, you know, it definitely did not have a whole ton of bearish strength. You know, our momentum wave came down. We got our nice big green dot. VWAP started trending back to the upside even prior to, let's see, I mean, we were already trending back up pretty much at this point, way back here. So at that point, with a big old split, VWAP trending, it kind of gives you an idea that obviously you are not there yet, but to keep your, you know, your head up and your eyes open for a coming bottom. So we still generally have this little VWAP upward trend going on. We'll see what happens. We kind of cut sideways right now. But the price is going up, so these RSIs may make another turn to the upside. Come over here to the half hour. Money flow looking ugly. Nice rejection on the VWAP. Didn't make it to the bottom. And you can see that trend continuing to play out, you know, across the 30-minute. Quite nicely. This one came up decently high, so we'll see how high that one can go. Not sure I expect it to go much further than that one. You know, we could be beginning like a little VWAP downtrend. Not for sure. I mean, at this point, I suspect that we, you know, it's hard to say here. Hold on. You know, looking at it from this perspective, whoa, how long has that been there? You know, we've been heavy around this range down here. But we also have a lot of support resistance right in this area. So we could come back, or at least hang out in this area for a little bit. Let's see what this volume range looks like. Yeah, see again, heavy down here. The next heavy area is actually just a little bit below where we just previously were. And the next is right about at the top of there. So potentially could be coming back to that spider line. And it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing if, you know, we found support at that spider line and we left behind this previous consolidation level. All right, let's clean some of this stuff up here. Let's get rid of that. And that and that. So yeah, you can see we're kind of just hanging out in between the two spider lines right now. You know, possibility that these RSIs are heading back up. It would be a fairly quick turnaround if they did. Try to find something similar. So, you know, we've been uptrending for a little bit, possibly turning over the top. It's not quite a rollover like that, so I wouldn't really equate it to that. At least not yet. Yeah, possibly something like this, but RSIs came down. A little rebound up. Played around before taking another giant little bunny hill up. It's really not that terribly similar. It's almost a little closer to this. Yeah, that big RSI split just kind of leads me to believe there is not a lot of bearish pressure. You know, the market wants to go up. Yeah, I think we could very well have another impulse wave, maybe something like that. It'd be nice if we can pull a nice 4 of these, although our interval is getting shorter. Not saying the 4th one has to be lower, but if we pulled something like that, or typically the last one, either the last or the second to last can be a little bit sharper. But look here, we had big spike before coming back up to that area. Big spike before coming back to that area. Possibly setting up for a big spike. You know, we definitely have plenty of room to the upside over here on the momentum wave. You know, money flow really not doing anything too bad on the red side. Had a big split here before jumping up. Let's see, let's bump it up a little bit. What's the daily doing here? So on the daily, still generally trending upward. Again, just coming into the green money flow. VWAP, you know, starting to head down, but nothing to be concerned about just yet. Do notice that we do have this, you know, basically following the money flow. Our VWAP is having this upward trend, just as the RSI is having an upward trend, just as the momentum waves are having an upward trend. So that's got me feeling pretty bullish in the macro view, in the longer term here. As far as the short term, you know, that's a little pathetic. Got a big split as we were heading to the upside, coming back together a little bit as we come down. That looks a little bearish. So, you know, longer term looks like we are likely continuing this kind of upward channel, if you will. Probably following along with these spider lines for a little while. But as far as trying to trade that longer term swing, there is a decent potential that we, you know, maybe come back down here to this spider line, which might make for a good entry. But also keep in mind, you know, out here on this larger time frame, you know, we've been pulling not just back, but all the way back on each of these pumps. You know, going all the way back to this guy. That one took a while. Came all the way back. came all the way back. We're really just at like a temporary little pullback at the moment. It's a very real possibility that we could come all the way down to this spider line and still be in our upward trend. You know, got room for this VWAP to, you know, potentially take a little bit longer to come back up, which would put us, you know, generally around this time frame over here. And you all know once things start to dip, they like to cascade quicker and quicker. Life comes at you fast. So that's kind of what's going on. That's the general gist of things, the overall picture, the landscape. Yeah, nothing fantastic on these hourly money flows. Yeah, squeezing back down, but still generally downward. I'm pointed sideways just with this last candle or two. And we'll see what happens with this guy if we come back up from there. But keep in mind, on this time frame, we are generally trending down. This guy right here, don't want to forget, that's some bearish divergence. Now, whether or not that's as much as that's going to play out, yeah, I don't know if I'm betting on that one. You know, RSI's, you know, still up here, although we did get a decent little split as this came down. But, you know, it doesn't mean we take a little bit to come back down. Or it could just be, you know, how we get these little valleys in between as we're going up. I don't know, with this money flow, I'm almost leaning a little bit more toward continuing this downward a little bit. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to trade some of these swings. It's the Sunday Swingers Club. Get your mind out of the gutter. Yeah, see, look at that guy. Tough to say. It does seem like we may be breaking through, though, or at the very least, it doesn't do peaks very well. You know, at the very least, having a smaller one that kind of continues this until we break through. How are we looking here? Hey, up 3%. That's cool. I keep forgetting to look at the trade. So anyways, on top of the charts, you know, there's one thing I saw that I wanted to bring up if I can find whatever the hell I did with it. Here it is. Let's see here. So saw this little article, and let's talk about Bitcoin's emissions instead. I don't think that's the actual title. Revisiting Bitcoin's energy problem in the face of ESG investment mandates. It's a scary fucking phrase right there if I ever saw one. Critics of Bitcoin's energy use should consider its relative carbon density rather than the absolute amount of energy used. Well, yeah, I would hope so. And they got an interesting little chart right here. So for anybody that's coming at you saying that, oh, mining Bitcoin uses so much energy and it's horrible for the environment and blah, 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 blah. Here's the comparison game for you. So in a casual setting, my favorite way to showcase that Bitcoin's energy use doesn't matter is to append Bitcoin's energy use to the US's energy consumption and ask if it looks like Bitcoin is using far too much energy. So the big blue section right here is the United States using 3,800 terawatt hours. And we got Bitcoin over here, again, worldwide Bitcoin, using 134 terawatt hours. A wee little bitty sliver there on the stack. And also keep in mind that China consumes 79% more energy than the US. China has an even bigger energy problem. Bitcoin only uses an estimated 134 a year, a scant 1.9%, and 3.5% that China and the US consume annually. And he said, you can imagine the path of the rest of the conversation takes, because, oh no, nobody wants to talk about China when talking about emissions and climate change and energy usage and pollution. Oh my God, don't get me started on that one. You guys ever see their little fleet of like militia fishing vessels? Oh my gosh, dude, look it up. It's some seriously crazy stuff. I mean, they're out here bullying people around in like the Philippines and the Galapagos and all this stuff, and they just got this giant fleet of like bottom dragging fishing vessels that it's just absolutely off the chain. Check it out. It's an interesting story, but somebody should probably do something about that. I think somebody did stand up to him, and I think kicked him out of the Galapagos or something like that, but they're still doing it in other places. So assholes. Now, don't really care, don't really care, don't really care. A growing number of institutions have recognized the importance of environmental, social, and governance, ESG, investing, and have implemented internal mandates. If you are unfamiliar with ESG, that is a BlackRock creation, or at least a BlackRock implementation, you know, created by the whole CFR type conglomerate there. Try not to take you too deep down the rabbit hole here, but ignoring the SG for a moment, although they are immensely important and relevant to Bitcoin, keep in mind where this article is being written on, it makes sense from an investment perspective to consider the environmental impact of Bitcoin's energy use. And they basically get into, you know, Bitcoin making a push toward using green energy and renewable energy. And, you know, I got no problem with that whatsoever. Honestly, like if they want to find better energy sources for mining Bitcoin and other things, that by all means go for it. You know, I was happy to see some of these like power plants that were literally setting up buildings for Bitcoin mining right there at the plant to help offset some of the costs and to also make up for, you know, because you get fluctuations in energy usage. And so as they're producing, what a lot of times happens is, especially with like natural gas plants and stuff, is that you see like those big stacks with the flame shooting out the top. They literally burn off like unused gas that they can't use for energy production because, you know, if you only have so much being used and you have so much being produced, that extra that's being produced, well, you got to do something with it, and they got to keep the plant going. I don't know the specific details of it anymore. It's been forever, but I used to have a friend who worked at a nuclear plant, and man, why the hell they've been so against nuclear is so ridiculous. If you ask me, it's definitely like been a big campaign by some of these big energy companies that they don't want the competition, and they realize that nuclear is the superior alternative. Also, hey, another cool tidbit too, if you want to learn about something that is particularly awesome in that regard, check out the molten salt nuclear energy plants. Super cool thing. There's a company that has figured it all out, laid it out. They want to start building, but, you know, given the, you know, dumbasses in office, they can't get through the approvals and regulations and stuff like that. But the best part about it is not only is it kind of dissimilar from present nuclear plants, but it doesn't use like high pressure steam the same way. Because the problem with nuclear plants, and they all say, oh my God, it's going to blow up, it's going to melt down. Like, get the fuck out of here. The only thing that can blow up in a nuclear plant is the steam pressure. Now, granted, yes, and electrical, you know, transformers and stuff, but different. So like what happens, you know, when something like that happens, if the steam blows and you lose the cooling tanks, then, you know, the fuel rods basically just start getting hotter until they have the meltdown. But it doesn't go blowing up in a freaking mushroom cloud. That just, it can't happen. I mean, short of somebody nuking the plant itself, you're not going to get a friggin' mushroom cloud out of a nuclear plant. How did I get on this tangent? Damn. But yeah, check out the molten salt one. You know, it's way safer. And on top of that, the cool thing is they can actually take old nuclear waste and feed it in there and use that to produce power. And it also helps get rid of the waste. And it's like self-regulating. So depending on what the load is and the usage, that it can actually adjust how much it's producing without having to like waste. Super cool stuff. You know, should be the future of energy production, and by I don't know, extension, future of crypto mining. And then maybe wouldn't have such a gigantic proof of stake push. And that's kind of a whole different thing in itself between proof of work and proof of stake. If you're a purist, you're probably more of a fan of proof of work. I haven't thought long and hard about it, but on its face, I probably like the proof of work a little bit better. So if you can figure out a better way to do that, what are we at? 3.6%? Meh. Yeah. You know, all the better. So yeah, it's Sunday. We're chilling. We're looking at the chart. We're watching this puppy go down a little bit. I'm not going to move my stop loss yet. I got my stop loss like right above these little highs right here. You know, if we pull back and then set a lower high, I'll probably move it to that lower high. But for the time being, I'm just going to let it slide. Now, speaking of ESG scores and BlackRock, here's this frustrating topic here, but jump into these ESG scores because it is actually important. And the fact that they are trying to apply this to crypto companies, frankly, pisses me off. But BlackRock's #1 goal in woke investing, huge ESG funds. Again, the ESG is environmental governance. Environmental social governance. So, you know, environmental, it seems on its face to make perfect sense. You know, you want companies that aren't polluting, that are trying to be more energy efficient, things like that. It sounds good, right? And then you got the social aspect, which is when you start getting into the, let's be honest, critical Marxism, because this is very much coming from an aristocratic left push. Trying not to go too far down the road here, but let's see what we got here. So progressives love the story of engine #1. And note, that is not Thomas the Tank Engine, a small activist investor that just fought its way onto the board of what many wokesters consider the most vile company in the world, oil giant ExxonMobil. Oh, and Larry Fink, if you don't know, CEO of BlackRock, overall asshole. Most activists think Paul Singer and Carl Icahn are in it for the money. Engine #1 wants to make money with the progressive twist. The fund's founders argue there's gold in green. You see where, and this is coming from the top down too, keep in mind. So these savvy veteran investors say making the world a better and greener place will translate into big earnings for companies and bigger returns for shareholders. Windmills apparently can produce efficient energy at a profit. Could have fooled me. Electric cars will soon be replacing gas guzzlers. Well, hopefully not too soon, because otherwise people are going to be shit out of luck for charging. Whether this sentiment expands beyond the woke is a matter of debate. I know plenty of investors who aren't convinced that green investing is anything more than a politically induced fad that will never make money and wouldn't get financing if it weren't for government grants. You know, I should probably zoom this in. As proof, they point to the world's greenest company, electric car maker Tesla, which feasts on government subsidies and barely turns a profit despite its much hyped stock price. Matter of fact, just like we said in the quote the other on the story time, where, you know, the stock prices are not reflecting how good the companies are doing, that is probably the greatest example of that, and is largely just trading and speculation and, you know, derivatives and leverage pumping it up even more. But the company itself is not doing super great. I mean, if it wasn't for the stock being super popular and Elon Musk being a very public figure, And you know that they also do cool projects. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I generally like the company, but it would not be pumping the way it does. So of course that hasn't stopped the progressive celebrations over the news that Exxon will now have to place 3 reps from engine number 1 on its board to force change. Engine number 1 wants the company to figure out ways to reduce its carbon footprint, which again sounds good until you realize it's also a fancy way of saying it wants Exxon to do less of what it's good at. Well, gee, that sounds like we've been seeing a lot of that lately now, doesn't it? What the fuck are gas prices right now? Oh, yeah. And by the way, what does engine number 1 know about running an oil company? Well, Jack and what comes out of his backside. Given credibility, this apparent lunacy has been one of the biggest and most profitable institutional investors out there, BlackRock. The $9 trillion investing monster run by Larry Fink may be the most powerful financial firm in the world because it holds shares in large doses of so many big companies and thus can direct corporate policy. And if you don't believe that, go and look at the top shareholders on any big company. Literally any big company in the US, and you will see BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. And guess what? BlackRock backed this no-name cadre of woke activists, even as Exxon persuasively argued that engine number 1 was not qualified to help run an oil company. With BlackRock on the fund side, ExxonMobil eventually folded like a cheap tent. A spokesman for engine number 1 and BlackRock had no comment, of course, but a BlackRock company official said the company's vote was a result of its concern that Exxon doesn't have a clear climate change strategy and its long-term performance will suffer in a low-carbon economy. Just like everybody else, because, hey, we're all carbon-based, so if you have a low-carbon economy, I guess most of us are dead then, aren't we? Fink has been a huge cheerleader for so-called ESG, environmental, social, government, corporate governance. Investing. ESG is all about ensuring that companies BlackRock holds in its multitudes of funds adhere to certain progressive edicts, like executives not paying themselves too much money. I don't think we'll complain about that one. Sounds good on paper until you drill down. For starters, such investing methods are highly political and veer far to the left. Companies often get good grades for supporting lefty causes such as BLM. Keep in mind, organization, not the concept. Oil companies like Exxon will get higher marks for building wind farms that produce energy inefficiently. And I happen to live in an area that wind farms are very prevalent. I see them literally taking the blades for the windmills down the freeway. Not as much lately, but for a while there, it was damn near every single morning you'd see convoys of 3 of them going down the freeway. Really interesting the way they secured them on the truck bed. But something else for investors to consider, these funds lately haven't beat indices that are simply created to make you money and only do so when they pack themselves with high-flying tech names. But here's where Fink and BlackRock still come out ahead. They have sensed that with all the media hype of ESG investing as the next frontier, they can also make a lot of money creating a new type of fund dedicated specifically to ESG and then charge more for it. Of course, why not? My sources inside BlackRock say that over the past year, Fink has transformed the place into an ESG cultural center. Fink talks ESG nonstop at company town halls. Seminars on ESG investing seem to take place every week. An executive named Brian Deese was promoted to push money managers to consider ESG in all their investment decisions. Deese is now one of several BlackRock officials who hold key positions in the Biden administration as director of the president's National Economic Council. This revolving door between Washington and Wall Street gives Fink a huge voice in the U.S. When has that ever not been the case? Let's be honest there. But it's no surprise that Biden's White House is issuing new environmental rules left and right to satisfy its woke base, and by extension, those who want woke investments, which Fink is happy to provide. By the end of the year, BlackRock could have as many as 150 so-called exchange-traded funds, ETFs, that adhere to ESG standards. ETFs are supposed to carry lower fees than normal funds because they mirror a typical basket of stocks. Yep. Yeah, I got me some ETFs. But basically, and what this really doesn't get into is, and this is kind of hard to really talk about. Hey, we're up to 6%. Cool. the whole ESG push comes from its genesis in the UN Sustainable Development policy, I guess you could say, agenda, which obviously went as far back as the Agenda 21, which morphed into the 2030 Agenda, which has now gone into the Great Reset and the World Economic Forum, and it's all the same people, all part of the same groups. And so it really makes you wonder, why are these people pushing for this so hard in every aspect with like a militant determination? And so on its face, and you know, you go to the UN website and you look up 2030 Agenda or Agenda 21, or go and read their books and the goals for sustainable development. And on its face, you know, things generally sound nice and rosy. You know, they want to, you know, help with food security around the world, and they want to cut down on pollution. And I'm not going to get into the climate change talk because I'm kind of a nerd in that area, and it's really not the scope of this channel, but I'd tear it to freaking pieces. But, you know, it's the whole thing. Let's say you go back to Bill Gates' TED Talk, you know, a number of years ago, where he brings up, let me see, hold on. You know what? We're just going to bring up the image. I'm sure we've got it here. There we go. Look at that. How convenient. So on the screen behind him, he brought up this little formula right here when he was talking about carbon emissions and such. CO2, obviously carbon dioxide, is equal to people times services per person times energy per service times CO2 per unit of energy. And when he's on stage, he's talking about, you know, well, in order to get the left side of this equation down to zero, not even close to zero, down to zero, he said one of these numbers is going to have to be significantly lowered. Now, take a wild ass guess which one you think it's going to be. CO2 per unit energy, yeah, that's probably going to go down, but that's generally been getting better and better all the time. Energy per service, okay, maybe a little bit, but that's pretty much tied in with the C over here. Services per person. Yeah, what did the World Economic Forum say again? You'll own nothing and you will be happy. You will rent everything. You won't own a car. Everything will be ride share, house share, apartment share. You know, tiny little pod share. Yeah, that's a real thing too. And they do exist actually in other places. It's, ugh. But at the end of the day, this being the key number right here. So if you are so worried about the fact that people are killing the earth and they're destroying everything and they're emitting all this carbon, and we're out here just like the cows farting in the wind with all this methane and making life miserable for everybody else, supposedly, you're going to have to lower the number of people. And this is not a new thing that Bill Gates has talked about. He's been talking about this forever. You could go back to even interviews when him and Melinda were walking around Africa on their I don't want to say the word because, man, YouTube's going to kill me for this one. When they were talking about their inoculations that they were doing down there, and some very interesting stories revolving around that, especially with leaders of certain countries literally kicking them out of the country. And they said if they ever came back, they were going to arrest them. But, you know, even back then they were talking about how, you know, oh, if we do a better job with the V word and what's like birth control and things like that, and, you know, we could bring that population significantly down. And a lot of people just kind of went like, ruh, ruh, like what? Like, wait, so why would the V word be used to help bring population down again? Like, what was that? Can you do that one more time? But all right, I know I'm probably like gonna piss everybody off. Like, you're going down the conspiracy rabbit hole. Like, well, you got me ranting, and I'm just chilling. We're just chilling. We're looking at the chart. We got a trade going. What are we at? Okay, we pulled up a little bit. 4.66%. Getting a 17 here. Definitely getting a big split. This guy's rounding off. I think I might just temporarily cut this one. Okay, we're gonna cut it. Probably have a pull up. At which point, I'm just scalping. Keep in mind, I'm not hitting on long trades or anything like that. I'm just trying to hit these like individual legs. Just, I'm bored. I got a big, beautiful corned beef roast in the oven right now, which the timer's going off. Hold up. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Hey, look, we're coming back down. Son of a bitch. Let's see. What do we got going on here? Yeah. Let's see. We are kind of double bottom unless we continue down. Yeah, probably cut it too early. That sucks. Oh well. So anyways, what's going on with everybody else? That is why I didn't do a live stream, because I literally had to hop up and run the hell down to the kitchen. Oh, look at that. Let's see what's Polkadot got going on. Potentially a little bounce off of that line. Shit, you all right? That's what happens when you stick your head onto the fence like an idiot. Dummy. Cardano. Oh, look at that. Just came back down in the red money flow. Oh, things are looking kind of downy. You know what? Money flow coming up, though, on the 10. I swear a dog's like coughing up dirt or something. Oh, what else? Let's see. Take a look over here at the coin market cap, see who's doing anything. 24 hour Ethereum Classic still 50, almost 52%. Jeez. Oh, damn. How did I miss that? Oh my gosh. You want to talk about one of those cases where you were nervous to like FOMO into it and it kept on going up anyways? I think that's about as rough an example of that as it gets. Like, crap, look at that. 53%. Ouch. Man, look at that money flow. That is pretty right there. You know, definitely have divergence on the money flow. But so far, it just does not care. You know what we're going to do here? What about this one? Set a little trend line here. And see what happens when we break it. I have a feeling by the time we break this trend line, you know, money flow may be heading back down. See what the RSIs are doing. Might be a great opportunity for a short. Let's see, who else doing anything? Tezos. Not big numbers, you know, the next highest only 4%. Bitcoin Cash. Interesting. Litecoin, man, it's like back in the old days. Got Classic, Cash, Litecoin. Stellar still kind of up there a little bit. Saw Monero was doing half decent earlier. Not quite at the moment, though. Yeah, coming back down into the red on the money flow. RSI is going down. Got this interesting little resistance down here on the momentum waves, but now that we've put in a lower high, I imagine it'll probably break that. Let's see, who's getting their ass kicked? ApeCoin. I just saw a story. What is with the, the ApeCoin really like blowing up lately? I heard something like supposedly the Bored Ape people might be behind it. Let's see. Looking terrible today. Although it seems like it just had a gigantic pump. But look, everybody's, I think I just saw even Bybit. I got a message on my phone saying that they're having it on their exchange now. Got Binance got it. OKX has it. Hotcoin, never heard of them. Mandala. What is ApeCoin? ApeCoin is the ERC20 governance and utility token used within the Ape ecosystem to empower and incentivize decentralized community building at the forefront of Web3. Wow, just like everybody else. Great fucking description. So glad you could be specific. Assholes. ApeCoin holders govern themselves via the decentralized governance framework controlling the ApeCoin DAO and vote on blah, blah, blah. So it's a governance token. Okay, got that. Who are the founders? Decentralized project inspired by Yuga Labs' Bored Ape Yacht Club projects. So they're not actually Yuga Labs or Bored Ape Yacht Club. They're just inspired by. So basically it could be anybody, your monkey's uncle's cousin's brother. ApeCoin DAO aims to build and maintain the ape ecosystem. Yeah, dude, all this shit means nothing. Nothing at all. They're all this text and they're saying absolutely nothing. So ApeCoin was founded to be used with the burgeoning ape ecosystem. Okay, that's nice. What the fuck's the ape ecosystem? It's supported by the Ape Foundation. Who the fuck's the Ape Foundation? The ApeCoin DAO aims to build and maintain the ape ecosystem in a fair and inclusive way. Ah, there's that fucking word. Providing an infrastructure for ApeCoin holders to collaborate through open and permissionless governance processes. Yeah, it's a fucking governance token. That's the fucking point. We already understand what the fuck that is. Sorry, this shit pisses me off. Okay, so much for not cursing. That just went way out the window. What makes it unique? This should be interesting. ApeCoin is the ape ecosystem's governance token. Yeah, you said that 3 times already, allowing them to participate. You already said that too. Giving its participants a shared and open currency that can be used without centralized intermediaries. Yeah, like every other fucking crypto. 62% of all ApeCoin was allocated to the ecosystem fund, which will support. How does this make anything unique? So, okay, here's what makes it unique. There's a freaking ape on it. That's it. That's why it's special. And they paid a fucking buttload for marketing and it got hyped up and it got that chart right there. Let's see, is it on here yet? Ape Tetherus. Man, reminiscent of the ICO days. Look at that damn candle. So I had a little 140 pump with a 45 retrace. Money flow just dumping out as everybody who got in on the pump is selling off. Yeah, very much an initial coin offering looking chart right there. Let's see, if you were to count $1 all the way up to $28. I mean, some people got super lucky on that one. Nice little 2,600%. Just out of curiosity here. So if you were to put, let's say $1,000 times, let's see, 2,800% would be times 28, right? Because 10% would be 0.1. I should have figured that one out without even thinking about it. Of course it'd be 28,000. Damn, I'm just, all this ranting has got me feeling stupid. Damn, Near's back down. Near was up there on the other side of the list for a minute. I guess it's retracing from its little pump action. XE. Shiba's not doing super hot. None of these are gigantic numbers though, so you know, it's not horrible, but pretty much everybody who was pumping last week is dumping this week. You know, the 7 days still don't look too bad though. Biggest gainers, Doge Rise Up. Let me guess, like one person bought a few $100 worth. Space Sip. What the hell is that? So many shit coins. Let's see. Let's see what ridiculousness is on the gainers list. Revelado. Talent token. Okay. Polytrade. It's a very amorphous sounding. Silva token. Shui Ron Inu. Kind of wish I could see what the picture was. Bitcoin Asia. Is that are we doing that? Are we doing that now? We're doing like a Bitcoin version for every continent. Portify. If you want to trade porta potty futures. Super rare. It's actually a decent volume for Mr. Rare over here. 423. That's actually not too terrible on the list. 3x long Ethereum Classic. Yeah, I'm sure that was doing very nice. 54%. Crypto ships. EcoWatt. Crazy Miner. Panda Inu. Okay. Overmoon. Somebody trying to jock off of Safe Moon, probably. Cypherium. Avex Tars. That's Piggy Finance, seriously? Seriously? Infomatrix. Multiverse. At least it's a decent name. Fanverse. Future X Crypto in all caps. The hell is it? That's what? Metaverse All Best. No idea what the hell that's supposed to be. ICO. Elon's currency that I'm sure he has never heard of. Bitcoin Metaverse. All right. See what's trending at the moment. Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Of course the ape is trending. Pancake Swap. That's interesting. NEM. Phantom. Yeah, that's what we like to see. Bitcoin. Look at that Phantom beating Bitcoin on the trending list. Compound. Is Compound making a comeback or something? Have they been doing anything lately? Why do I keep seeing them popping up on the list? Solana, Shibu, BNB, Ethereum, Polygon, Audius. Man, I'm still waiting on this to come back. It's actually, I mean, a good project. I like what they're doing with decentralized music. I don't know, marketplace. And you get promoted based on how much people like it rather than some, you know, big industry company trying to, you know, push it on people. So theoretically, like, the best music should work its way to the top. It's a cool idea. Oh shit, timer's going off. Anything else interesting on here? Jasmy coin. You know what? I heard about that a while. 141%, huh? Heard about that a while back. Don't have the slightest clue about it. Maybe we'll have to look into it. But I'm not going to do it now. Anyway, so I got to cut this guy. I'll go down and make myself some freaking delicious, some deliciousness. What do we got up here? And we pulled back up a little bit. That sucks. All right, everybody. I'm probably going to do another video later tonight. I want to try to do it on something actual, I don't know, something informative, something interesting, you know, learn you a little bit. And if you're still watching by now, God bless you, man. What the hell you doing listening to me rant? But I love you. Have a good one. Stay free, stay happy, enjoy the nice weather out here as spring comes around. Peace.